stud work for a surprise. So having moved the final 9 plasterboards up into this space has been shown before on a previous video, the fun and games of that. I believe that there's sufficient plasterboard now to finish this upstairs. I've decided I'm probably going to do the ceilings in wood, in tongue and groove. I just think I did a mini run with trying to get a board up, and they're too heavy for one person. My supports aren't sufficient to be put in place. So what I've decided to do is to use tongue and groove, called lamby in French, and that way I can take care of the ceilings. So that's that. Anyway, so the plasterboard's up for all the walls. There's a final interior door to go in, which will be for this master bedroom, and that's more or less where I'm standing now. That's where it will be going. And just to close up where the partition is with my neighbour's property. So it's a question of working out where to put, what height to run at, because there's insulation wrapped all the way around this house. I will be doing a video on why I'm not using a vapor barrier, and that will be coming up fairly shortly. So I'm sure that'll raise a few eyebrows. Anyway, this is the final wall for the upstairs as such. It's got a return, so it's the opposite side to what's going to be the cob wall, which you'll see going up the stairs. On this side, it'll just be plasterboard because it's forming the latter part of the bedroom. There's a hint there in the fact that you can see a Velux window directly in front of me. What my thoughts and plans are, what the surprise is likely to be for this wall. Right, so there's also electrics and stuff to play around with as ever. So you've got, on that side, you're going to have the electrics coming down. There'll be a switch, two-way switch for the stair light. There's also some power points going in on that wall and also on the corridor outside, so that if we're running the vacuum around, we've got something to plug into there. We're doing a vacuum when we finally start to vacuum the place. We'll have a few points there. So this wall will have a large opening to it, and then the reason for that will be revealed at a later stage. It's not difficult to do as such, all this stud work and that, but it's a lot of faffing around. As you're cutting, you're measuring the sizes, you're trying to get the angles right, making sure everything's well joined up. You've got the sort of the clamper for clamping the bits together, which has been a useful tool. But it takes time, and obviously 9 times out of 10 these videos are all sped up anyway, because if they weren't, there'd just be hours and hours of not a great deal seems to be going on. So the beauty about this is it happens fairly quick. So within 12 minutes you'll see what was done in about an hour and a half of work, maybe a touch more. And with that, you can see the house is progressing quite nicely. There's been a few comments regarding will the floors hold the way I've done them. I'm fairly sure they will. I mean, time will tell, won't it, with all these things. But if you consider the old floor with the very large ceiling joists and then a great chunk of cob sitting on top of, and in this particular room we had the briquettes and the tiles as well, which weighed a fair bit, probably 400 kilograms of weight bearing down on this already, and it hadn't moved. So my thoughts are, by putting a bed in the wardrobe and chest of drawers, I don't believe that the floor's in imminent thingy of collapse. I'm fairly confident it'll hold. And then the other side, it's been put on stilts as such. I'll call it stilted floor. And that's situated directly over, again, the ceiling joist on that side of the house. So will it collapse? Obviously, you'll all be well informed if it does. But I can't see it happening personally. All right, so coming back to this, trimming down the montants, the uprights, putting them in place. You join up, as I said before, when you're putting it, you try and work to a 60 centimetre centres, 2 foot centres, because with that it's much easier to get the boards in place. And when the board's in place, the boards have actually got small markers on them, tiny little black marks showing you every 60. That also shows you 40 centimetres as well, if you were going to be doing it a bit tighter. On this, it's not necessary, I believe. I may put a couple of shelves up at some stage, but other than that, 60 centimetres are fine. And the plasterboard is sized at that, 1.2 metres wide. So it's a lot easier to try and work to that size rather than doing it your own way and coming unstuck. The ceilings I have tended to do in timber, just because it's a material I kind of like working with. And then obviously with it being that as well, it's going to be much easier to fit the tongue and grooved slats for the ceiling as well, to put in timber onto timber. All right, I don't suppose it's slightly more expensive than the plasterboard, but it's just going to be much easier for me to achieve that. I just think I can't get a second pair of hands here yet at the moment. And I don't want to delay it anymore. Time's ticking on. We're quite a way through the best part of July now, which leaves me kind of just slightly more than a month to get all the internals done. And there's a fair bit to still do. I've got to get a horizontal chauffe or water heater, because there's so little space left now in the loft area directly above it. Once you've got the insulation and that in place, I can't actually put a standard sort of upright into there, and I want it higher than the showroom anyway, just to aid the with gravity. That just aids the water pressure coming down, the hot water feed. So that needs to go in, and obviously I need to run in my first fix plumbing for that, which will probably be done in Flexi. Again, it's just a bit easier to do. Well, I haven't got any bits for that as yet. That's something else I need to do. I'm a wee bit short on the insulation, so I need to buy a little bit more insulation to go in and around these areas. And also I need to, at the same time, get the soil pipe, because I need to get that put into position. That's going to be a wee bit awkward, I think. I've just about got enough room downstairs where you go through the ceiling between where they've got the large beam that runs from front to rear of the house. Obviously, I've got to go over the top of that. I don't want to be cutting into that either. And then to get me to the outside, so I can connect up with the existing soil pipe that's currently in place, but not above ground level. So there's lots of things still to crack on with, and 4 or 5 weeks isn't a great deal of time to do it. And we haven't even touched on all these walls need taping and filling, and then sanding down, and then painting, and da-da-da. So it's going to be highly stressful, I'd imagine. I might even have to go to a 6-day or 7-day week to try and get the idea is to get everything, the internals of the house done by the end of August. And then we would look at what we're going to do as far as the barns are concerned. Weather should still be fairly reasonable. I will be taking a holiday in September, believe it or not. I just need to recharge the batteries a wee bit. So if it's finished in August, quick holiday somewhere nice. France is nice, but somewhere just different point of view. Then return back here, then look to get the roof sorted out on the barns, because with that, then it's a bit like the house. Then they're not going to be any further damaged with regard to water ingress. And at the moment, I've stripped off a great chunk of tiles from one side of the barn, which helped to finish the house, and I've put tarpaulins up just to help to protect the weather. The weather's been extremely kind. We've had very, very little rain and a couple of really heavy downpours. over the past couple of months, but one in particular was kind of torrential. But other than that, the weather's been extremely kind. So thank you very much to whoever deals with that side of things up high. So if we can get the barn watertight, I can read you the barn's watertight. I can rejig that. The first barn will end up being a garage. Sort of that's as you've got a little sort of entrance to the driveway. You can drive in. The very first barn you get to, you'll be able to get a car into there, swing around and into there. The second barn will be my workshop. I'm hoping to start like a workshop program. Anybody that's interested could possibly come over if you're keen on, if you've never done any sort of work like that and you're just keen on having a go at, find out a bit about electrics or doing a bit of masonry or plumbing or whatever. If you just fancy having a go, even if you're not intending ever to buy a place to renovate or move to France or whatever, just some people would like to learn how to things like change a plug, or how to add another socket, and things like that. So that's what hopefully I'll be offering, as well as Airbnb in this place, booking.com or whatever, to try and gain a wee bit of income from it. So here we are. Have you guessed yet what the surprise is likely to be? I said earlier on, the idea is that with the Velux being there, I decided that I will put the window that I'd taken out and replaced with UPVC window. I'm going to put this in here, my very own French window in my French bedroom facing the Velux, and that way then you've got ventilation and natural light coming into the bedroom. What do you think of that? Anyway, that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching and see you soon.